I want to start by saying, at the moment in Ireland, 60% of people are overweight. 60% of people are overweight. By the year 2030, over 89% of people, if trends continue, will be overweight, and we'll be the fattest nation in Europe. But you guys here are the ones that can change it by taking action now. I'm not a dietitian. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not somebody that's going to tell you what you should eat and what you shouldn't eat. But I'm just here to tell you today that once upon a time, not too long ago, only a couple of years ago, I was 20 stone. My wife was 15 stone, and together, collectively, we've lost over 13 stone and changed our lives for the better. And anybody can do it. If you put your mind to it, you can do what you want. But I just want to take you back to the start, and that's my only really bit around obesity or overweightness or losing weight. But I want to take you back to the start when I was similar age to yourselves, maybe not in this photograph, but that's me as a kid. And as a kid, I had a dream, and my only dream was to be a footballer. Can anybody guess what kit that was back in 1987? Very good. It was. Somebody say Rome? It was Liverpool, so forgive me if you're not a Liverpool fan. But as a kid, all I ever wanted to be was a footballer. I had a dream of playing football in Lansdowne Road. I had a dream of playing football in Anfield. And I had a dream of playing football wherever I could. I kicked the ball every day. I played for my local club for about 10 years or so. I played with Cherry Orchard. Was doing okay, played at a decent enough level. Had teammates that went over to England. Every week we'd have somebody over watching us play football. But around the time I was 13, 14, I got my first job. And my first job was going to be a job that changed my life forever. My first job was with an uncle of mine who was a milkman, a local milkman in the area I grew up. And my job was to get up every Saturday morning with him at 4 a.m. and deliver milk. Now you might think, well, how has that changed your life? One Saturday morning I got up, went on the milk run, and actually fell off the back of a milk lorry. Didn't think much about it, but when I went home, I was dropped home straight away. I went home, and 3 weeks later, I got a career-ending injury. I was diagnosed with epilepsy. Now, epilepsy is one of those conditions. In the early 90s, not many people spoke about it. They say about 1 in 100 people have it. It's a neurological condition. It affects your brain. So not only did it affect my football career, I had to give up because I was always accused of diving. So if anybody knows epilepsy, you take seizures. So you're always accused of diving on the football pitch. So I had to give up. But it also affects your brain, your memory, your ability to read and write. And all of that was affected to me as a school kid. I went from being in the top class in the school I was in to barely being able to read. I remember being asked to read a history book in the middle of a class one time, and I could see the words, but they just wouldn't come out. The words, I knew what they were saying, but I just actually couldn't say what was on that book in front of me. I got no help in school. I got no help from the Board of Education. I got no help from teachers. I actually got very little help from family and friends. And the main reason I didn't was I never asked for it. I never told people that I was struggling so much. People could see, yes, I was struggling. You know, I went from being pretty bright in class to not being able to read. They could see that, but I never actually told them how bad it was. I never told them how much I was actually struggling. My first tip for people today is, if you have a problem, share it with others. They're only there to help. Epilepsy was one of those conditions back then where people didn't really like to speak about it. I'm not going to ask, has anybody got the condition here, but does anybody know anybody that has epilepsy here, apart from me? You're not allowed to say me. Does anybody know anybody that has it? Somebody at the back? Yeah, 1 or 2 at the back there. So there are people that know of the condition and know about it. But a lot of people, and if I was sitting in your seat and anybody put up their hand, or was asked to put up your hand if you had epilepsy, I certainly wouldn't put up my hand. Even now I find it hard to tell people, especially when you're going through life and you're filling out job applications. One of the questions you always get asked, do you have any conditions such as asthma, epilepsy, blah, blah, blah. I always say no. It's probably the wrong thing to do, but I always say no. And it's hard to speak about it. But it did affect me. Affected me badly, but I got over it. 20 years later, I was on Ireland AM only 2 years ago. for Epilepsy Day. I became an ambassador for Epilepsy Ireland a couple of years ago. They heard my story, they seen me speak at an event, and I do a little bit of work with them, helping others, come out and tell people to say it's okay to say you have epilepsy. It doesn't affect you. Look at the ability rather than the disability. It's only a condition, and you can get through life without it. So it's not a huge thing. You can get through it. And on Ireland AM, I spoke to a professor that was on with me, and he said, Rob, you're 10 years seizure free. You're over 10 years off the medication. You're actually cured. So it took about 20 years, but I fought the battle of epilepsy and came out the other end from being actually cured of epilepsy. So it is something that you can fight. It is something that you can win. I still have it, but I'm actually cured. I haven't took a seizure now in over 15 years. So it's really good. It's something that I fought hard for. And it's worked and I've come out, but focus on the ability rather than the disability. One effect epilepsy had on me, though, was taking 25 tablets a day was pretty hard. Giving up sport, pretty hard as well. And that only led to one thing, being 20 odd stone. So yes, that's me there in that picture with my eldest lad now, Liam, who's 11. And when I seen that picture, I thought something has to change. I looked at Liam smiling. To him, I'm just his dad, but I was never happy the way I looked. I have another picture there of the four of us. Now, you knew what the Liverpool jersey was. Can anybody guess what that jumper is? Somebody said it there? Pats, good lads, St. Pat's, yes. I have a season ticket for St. Pat's for 25 years, so I parked Liverpool after they didn't win anything in '89 and haven't gone back since, and now I'm a Pats fan, so for the last 25 years. But good guess. So myself and Yvonne in that picture, collectively you can see we're overweight. We looked at that picture and thought, we need to do something. We need to have, our big enough reason was there in front of us, the two boys. I wanted to be able to kick a ball around with them. I wanted to be able to play Lego with them, and I couldn't. I couldn't even tie my own laces. I was that bad. I was that overweight. So we needed something. We had that something to change what we did. And what we did was we got into right mindset, into the right motive. And our motive was for health reasons and for the boys, not for a quick fix because something is coming up, we're going on holidays or there's a wedding coming up or anything like that. It was for our health, it was to live longer, and it was for the boys. And if you have a strong enough motive to do whatever you want in life, no matter what you want to achieve, make sure that motive is longevity. You will always achieve what you want to achieve. I'll just step back a second there. When I finished school, I went on to do catering in college, which is ironic now because a lot of what I do now is around catering. I didn't really want to work in the catering industry, and I went on to work with my dad in John Player's, a cigarette factory. So apart from never smoking in my life, another tip I would give to you is don't smoke. I seen what goes into them. Never ever smoke a cigarette. So that's the second tip of the day. But yes, so we went on. We knew we had to lose weight, and we just changed our mindset. I think Tom spoke about it there. It was non-negotiable. What we were going to do was non-negotiable. We set ourselves goals, and we had a plan to do it. The goals were small because they were achievable. Week in, week out, we wanted to lose a small little bit of weight all the time. We wrote them down. We were competitive, so we worked against each other, but we worked with each other. So if you can find somebody to team up with them. It had its ups and downs. It wasn't easy. I mean, I do an awful lot of events, and if you see, at the events, it's always pastries, it's always sandwiches, it's always bad stuff, but you have that choice, you have that will, what's in front of you doesn't have to be eaten. Use the choice, use your brain. You know what's good for you, you know what's bad for you. Make that right choice. You can change. I'm looking at people here, nobody needs to, lose weight. Stop comparing yourself to others. Just do what's right for you. But for the longevity of it, you can eat healthily, you can make the right decisions, and it's all about choice. It's all about being committed to whatever you're looking to do. And I relate to it in weight loss, but for yourselves, it could be something different. It could be careers, it could be sport. Thomas spoke about sport being his only goal all the time, but it can be anything you want it to be once you put your mind to it. The last I'm not going to guess. You don't have to guess what the jerseys are there. So back to the motive. These are the lads now. They're 11 and 6 now, and now we play football together. I coach them in soccer. I coach them in GAA. I'm able to do that because I set myself a goal and achieved it. And anybody can do that. And now my motive is still the same. I want to be healthier. I went to a doctor recently and he told me that I've probably added 20 to 30 years onto my life. You can't buy time, but you can do your best, to make it longer. And we had to do that. And now that motive is still there. So we continue eating healthy. We continue setting ourselves goals. We continue to keep challenge ourselves. And one of the great phrases I heard at a talk that I was at a couple of years ago, and it goes for anything you're trying to achieve, is suffer the pain of discipline or suffer the pain of regret. So be disciplined no matter what temptation is put in front of you. Be disciplined or you will regret it. And if you pass that, you're on to a winner. At the very start of this conversation, I spoke about having a dream. And I said, look, all I ever wanted to be was a footballer. All I ever dreamed of was being a footballer. And if you put your mind to it, you can do it. I came to Zeminar last year and I said, I could actually get up there. I seen Panty Bliss and I said, I could up there and speak like Panty Bliss. And hopefully what I can say to people will resonate with them. I can help even one person in the crowd. And here I am today. I said at the start, I said, all I wanted to be as a kid was a footballer. I dreamt of kicking a football in a stadium, in a sports campus, in whatever it was. I mightn't get another chance ever, but if you put your mind to it, and if you dream big, you can achieve whatever you want, guys. Thank you very much.